Good evening. I'm Pedro Hazel Jr.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
Welcome to another edition of Sportslines Plus. The Knicks lost Game 7 of the conference semifinals to the Indiana Pacers, 130-109 at Madison Square Garden yesterday, losing the series 4-3. The Knicks riddled with injuries to Josh Hart, Oji Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, and finally, Jalen Brunson, who fractured his hand in the third quarter. The Knicks fought as hard as they could, but the injuries were just too much to overcome. The Pacers advanced to the conference finals against the Boston Celtics, which will start tomorrow night in Boston. Steve, what did you get out of the Knicks-Indiana series?
First of all, Pedro, this series was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a very emotional series for both teams. There were blowouts on both sides in the series. Mm-hmm. And also there were some really exciting close points all through the series. Two different contrasting styles. Indiana, a run-and-gun offense. The Knicks team, half-court offense.
Yeah.
Very different styles.
Yeah.
I do think the Indiana Pacers, and I will say this because I know a lot of Knicks fans, including me, felt really miserable about this loss yesterday.
Yeah.
I think the first thing we have to do, the injuries did matter. I won't say they didn't, but this was the game yesterday that the Knicks, in my opinion, should have won.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I say that. Because this is a game they were at home, number one.
Yes.
Number two, this is a team that relied all year long on their grittiness, their heart, their guts, their effort, their defense. And yesterday, I'm sorry, guys, we didn't have it.
Nope.
It did not show up yesterday at all. And the last two games the Knicks played this team, they gave up 130 points yesterday and I believe 125 on Friday. So what we're looking at is a team that actually gave up over 200 points of offense to the Indiana
250
Pacers.
points.
Yeah. Almost 250.
More than 200.
Thank you. More than 250 points. The Knicks team relies on their defense as part of their identity. Their identity was totally missing. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you what I think of Indiana. They are a really good team.
Yeah.
And I think for the first time, the Garden fans finally realized how good they really are.
Yeah.
Because this Indiana team led the league in scoring. Their defense in the middle of the season was ranked 15th. This head coach, Rick Carlisle, made them a better defensive team.
Oh, yes.
He sat them down at some point and said, look, if we can be at least mediocre defensively with what we do offensively, we can beat this New York Knicks team. And yes, I do agree that the injuries did factor in. And I think with Brunson's injury, that was the end of their season.
That was.
Once he was gone from the team in the third quarter, we were done for the afternoon.
Because remember, the third quarter, the Knicks came back.
Yes.
From a 22-point deficit and cut it right down to 6.
Yes.
And that's probably when Brunson broke his hand.
And that's when I expected the New York Knicks to turn it on.
Yeah.
I know they had a rough game with this team. This team is very fast. They're quick. They react to every mistake you make on the court.
That's right. They
took
advantage. Yeah.
When the Knicks got within 6, I thought, now the Knicks are going to turn it on.
I thought so too. But again, too, that maybe if Jalen Brunson had not broken his hand, they probably might have won this. No matter what pulled this game.
But I think what we failed to realize about Indiana is how dangerous this team is offensively.
Yeah.
There were so many lob passes thrown to Turner, to a lot of their guys, quick passes, running up the court. I think the Knicks were surprised at how good this team really is that they were playing.
Yeah.
Granted, the Knicks are a very good defensive team, but they did not show up at all yesterday.
They didn't.
And I understand they may have been tired. They've had 2 rough series. They had one with Philadelphia, which took them 6 games, one of the most grueling series in years.
Oh, my God.
And let me tell you, as grueling as that was, I think the Indiana series was actually even more so.
Yes.
Because what this team did, they ran the New York Knicks out of the building.
Yes, they did.
And their shooting was not good. It was phenomenal.
Indiana shot 67.1%.
To the Knicks, 46%.
46%.
And when you shoot 46%, guys, you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
But you can't allow another team to shoot 67% on your floor in Game 7. That's not supposed to happen.
And that's an all-time record, the 67.1%. Wow. It was an all-time record.
I think a lot of us underestimated this.
And they scored 39 points in the first quarter, another record for them.
Right. Nobody else who's played the Knicks in any series has done what this team did to them. This team just obliterated the Knicks defense.
Yeah.
We couldn't stop this team at all. Mm-hmm. I understand they don't have a Giannis Antetokounmpo. They don't have a Joel Embiid. But what they have is a group of really good players. And that guy, that Miles Turner, that's a guy the Knicks wanted a couple of years ago.
Right.
And now you see why. It's not about his scoring. It's everything. This guy can hit threes. He's got slam dunk ability. He plays defense. If we ever, and I'm talking ever, get a center that's close to that, maybe then we can win a championship.
Yeah.
But I think the Knicks' reliance on their point guards and forwards finally caught up to them.
And the 3-pointers, they were just shooting. I mean, they shot well, but but not as well as definitely not as well as Indiana.
DiVincenzo, who had an excellent year, 39 points yesterday in the loss. This is the best I've ever seen him play in the NBA. But this Indiana team comes at you in waves.
Yeah.
They have guys off the bench like
TJ McConnell. I was just about to mention him.
This guy is a freak.
Just came off the bench and just killed them.
Yeah. They got bulldozed by this team. I think they did underestimate them. I think that's part of what happened. I know the injuries had something to do with it. Everybody got hurt in the Knicks. I get that. But this was Game 7.
Yeah.
And Game 7 at home, you need to show up. And the Knicks, I'm sorry to tell you, fans, it just didn't happen. And I love the Knicks as much as anybody, but they didn't have it at all yesterday.
Yeah.
They looked a step slow. They couldn't play defense. They couldn't stop Indiana. Nothing worked that they did yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe it was lack of energy, but I think Indiana took a lot of the energy out of them Friday night and yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
They came in here with a mission to win, not to show up and look good. That's something I think the Knicks learned about this team.
Yeah.
How tough they really are. And we thought Philadelphia was very tough.
Yeah.
This team might even be tougher.
Oh, yeah.
As much as we think Philadelphia is. This team absolutely ran the Knicks out of the building in Game 7. And I think they shocked the hell out of the crowd.
Yes, they did.
How good they really are.
Took the crowd out of it.
And when has a team done that to the Knicks this year? Taking them completely out of their game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to the Knicks yesterday, but I will say this. They had a great season, the Knicks overall.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
You were 50,
they had one of the best seasons in like 30 years.
50-32 in the regular season, finished second in the conference. You look good against Philadelphia, and I think they played the toughest defense that we've seen. But what Indiana did to this team was incredible.
Yeah,
they killed the Knicks.
I know. My father was watching this game, and he was like, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Well, I mean, I told him, I let him know about the star players because it's been years since he's seen the Knicks.
Oh yeah.
He even asked me when last did we see a game, and I told him it's been quite a while, Dad.
Wow.
My
father was like that too. He didn't watch a lot of basketball, but he would have probably said, "What happened to the Knicks?"
I mean, my dad was a big Knicks fan, going way back to Frazier and Bradley and Monroe, those guys. And
they let them down yesterday. They really did.
He kind of fell asleep watching the game.
And when has that happened to any of us this year? Falling asleep.
I didn't, but he did.
Right. I mean, your father, God bless him, is 93, and he was yesterday. But I have to tell you, man, this was the worst beatdown the Knicks have had in a playoff game in a long time.
Yes, indeed.
I give a lot of credit to Indiana.
Yes. I would give credit to them, too.
I think they proved yesterday that even though the Knicks on paper were supposed to be the better team, Indiana proved they were the better team.
Yes, indeed.
As much as it pains me to say it, they were terrific.
Right.
And their speed and their jump shot shooting is off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
And they embarrassed my team yesterday.
Yes, they did.
I really hope that the Knicks learn their lesson. And I hope that Thibodeau will use all of his players, not just 7 or 8. They had Shake Milton, who's on the Knicks, sitting on the bench. Let me tell you something. He was the 3rd leading scorer when he played for the Philadelphia Sixers. Why is it that a guy who averaged 15 points a game the year before is sitting on your bench in a game that you need
to win? Yeah.
You need to win. Thibodeau's a great coach, but he has a little work to do as far as understanding.
I was saying, he was a disciple of Pat Riley.
And Pat Riley would have coached almost the same way.
Yes.
This group of 7 or 8 doesn't work. You guys have to use the Doc Rivers method. That means 11 or 12 guys can play. Why does that work? Because when you're in the playoffs and your core group isn't getting the job done, these guys behind them know how to win.
Yeah.
I think next season I would like to see Thibodeau use more of that bench.
Yes,
use
I agree.
10 guys out of the 12.
Yeah.
Get them ready because these series, nobody knows who's going to be the star of the game.
Exactly.
I think the Knicks.
Burks did a decent job.
Burks was very good.
He did a decent job.
Burks was very good in this.
In the last couple of days, he also did well too.
Yeah. Burks showed up in this series.
He showed up. He showed up in the last few days.
Right. And I give him credit because he wasn't going to see the light of day unless Bogdanovich got hurt.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that Thibodeau needs to learn.
Right.
All of your players that you have should be able to come into a game 7. You should never worry about what they can do. And the way you find out is you get them in the games before the playoffs.
That's right.
So that they all understand what's at stake.
They acclimated. Yeah.
But I give full credit to Indiana.
Yes.
Yesterday, for the first time this year, I would say they were the better team.
Yes.
And that's the first time this year I've said that about the Knicks.
Do you think Bogdanovich is going to be I know a number of players are going to be free agents.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I have my own take on this. I think
you think Robinson is going to be gone.
I think Robinson will go, not because he's not a good defensive player. He is. But the New York Knicks are lacking a center.
Yeah.
They've got hurt by centers, not only in this series, but the previous series.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid was halfway healthy, and he got 50 points against the Knicks in one of those games.
Yeah.
Then this Miles Turner, he may not be a prolific scorer, but we couldn't stop this guy.
Yeah.
Nobody on the Knicks goes out to guard the 3, and we need somebody to do it. I think they need, first of all, I'll tell you what, I made a mistake last time, guys, and I told you that Zach Edey was going to be drafted number 10. Well, that's not happening. What is happening is the Knicks have 2 draft picks later in that first round, the 25th, 26th picks. They may
24th and 25th.
Excuse me, 24th, 25th. They might be able to draft this guy, but I fear that some other team is going to step in before the Knicks have a chance to do it.
24th, 24th, 25th. That's
fairly far down the first round.
That's far down, yeah.
But
we're hoping.
Here's what the Knicks can do, and I just thought of this. The Knicks have 7 draft picks available. Now,
7.
Can you take some of those draft picks and tell whoever is thinking of drafting Zach Edey, I will give you some of these draft picks if you let me draft Zach Edey.
Yes.
In other words, the Knicks can move up in the draft
if
they want
I agree.
to. So I would think that's a possibility. Yes, I do think Robinson will be going. I think we will keep Hartenstein. He's supposed to be a free agent. I think he would be a very good backup to a star future center. Whether that's Zach Edey or somebody else in a trade, the Knicks really need a center. They have almost everything else to win. They have the amazing Jalen Brunson, who would run through a brick wall for you. They have DiVincenzo, who lived up to every expectation I had, and well beyond. And Josh Hart has been an absolute star. I don't care.
I think he's the emotional leader of this team.
Yeah. I don't care if he averages 15 points a game. It's not just that with Josh Hart. He does everything. Steals, rebounds, shots, block shots, jumps on the floor for loose balls. He is a terrific player. They have a good core of players, the Knicks, but they're missing a couple of pieces.
Oh, yeah.
I think the center spot is definitely something they have to address. And then the question is, who do you want of the free agents on the market? I looked yesterday. There's a name on there that plays for Indiana. His name is Pascal Siakam.
Oh, yeah.
What if
another Knick killer?
What if the Knicks can get him as a free agent?
Oh.
And another name I saw in there that interested me a whole lot was Paul George.
Oh, yes.
Now, he is a star that will probably be in the Hall of Fame. So what I'm looking at now, I'm not talking about Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker, and they are great players. But I think the Knicks have to start looking at a center. Now, Siakam may not be Patrick Ewing, but he is certainly better than everything the Knicks have at center.
Yes.
And you know what he did to the Knicks? He scored on them. He scorched them from the outside.
Sure.
I never knew he had that outside game. Maybe he's gotten to be a better shooter.
Yeah.
But he hurt the Knicks.
Oh, tell me about it.
We should get him.
Yes.
And Paul George is a star. You could put him on any roster, including the Knicks, and he'll make them better.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking of a couple of different options for the Knicks.
And the Knicks have been pretty good with, these acquisitions like Anunoby,
Anunoby was the best option the Knicks had before all the injuries.
Yep.
I have never seen a Knicks have a player of his caliber that can defend all 5 positions. He is a marvelous defender. He averages 15 points a game. He rebounds. He's a terrific player. That was a huge loss for the Knicks, especially in this series.
That's for sure.
Because this team absolutely ran the Knicks out of the building.
Yes, they did.
And they need a healthy Anunoby for next season.
But
they're close. I will say this about the Knicks. There's nothing to be ashamed of as far as their regular season.
Oh, yeah, they had a great season.
They had a terrific season.
Knicks.
Just remember how bad this team was 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
When we won, and I remember, 17 games twice.
Twice, yes.
And we won 21 another year. This team was an absolute disaster.
Laughing stock of the NBA.
Absolutely. And now,
remember.
That's why I and my buddy here are wearing their caps, because we know they are good now. There is no question that the New York Knicks are a serious contender, but they need a little bit more to get to the top.
Yes.
But I respect the Indiana Pacers. They played their tails off against the Knicks, and I never thought the Knicks were going to blow Game 7, but I'll tell you what, they did not show up for this game, and next time around, they better show up when they have a Game 7.
And here's another team that didn't show up yesterday, last night.
Oh, my God.
The Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
The Denver Nuggets were playing the Minnesota Timberwolves in Denver, and the Timberwolves beat them.
Yes.
They won
Game
7 in Denver.
Yep.
They won 98-90 to advance to the conference finals against the Dallas Mavericks, which will start Wednesday night in Minnesota. What did you think about the game in this series?
Let me tell you what I thought. The Knicks loss was an absolutely horrible loss, and it was a terrible way to end the season because they really had a great season. But nothing is worse, in my opinion, in an NBA season to be the NBA champions,
defending champions
in the NBA, and lose Game 7 on your home court to an upstart Minnesota Timberwolves team. I think people in Denver have to be just shocked out of their minds. There's no way that anything is worse than that for a basketball fan. This team had Jokic and Murray and a very talented offense and defense.
Yes.
And Minnesota came into that building and took the game away from them.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you something about Minnesota. Everybody thinks it's the Anthony Edwards show. Well, it's not. And you know why I say that? Because Rudy Gobert, do you remember him? He's a center. He doesn't even shoot the ball. He took a jump shot yesterday from about 20 feet out, and he nailed it. And he got 13 points in the game. That may not sound like a lot, but you add that to Conley and Edwards, and don't forget the man they call Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, who the Knicks have wanted for years. The 4 of those guys made that team stand up and represent Minnesota like they never have. I really respect Minnesota more than I ever have because we always hear about Anthony Edwards, and he is going to be a superstar in this league, barring any major injury. But these three guys who played with him yesterday, they all played like the stars that they are. And they embarrassed Denver on their home court.
And I will tell you, and then some more stuff. Here's some more things I looked up. The Nuggets were the first team in league history to lead by 15 or more at halftime
and lose
at a game 7.
Wow.
They were the very first team.
See what I told you? The Knicks game was tough for us to lose, but we're the emerging team. We're getting to that level.
Yes.
Denver was there and they lost. Nothing hurts more than that for a fan.
They scored 60 to 37 in the second half.
Wow.
That's how, I mean, they had a complete turnaround.
They had a complete meltdown is what happened.
The Timberwolves had the turnaround. Denver had the meltdown.
Yes. Minnesota,
and they were up 15 at halftime.
You know what Minnesota's like? This is a team for years that's had athletic ability and talent, but they finally have put it together, all of it. Like, we've been waiting for this team. Karl Anthony Towns was a good player, averages over 20 a game. You have Edwards, first pick in the draft, by the way. And you see how good he is.
Yeah.
Now they brought in Rudy Gobert, a terrific defender and shot blocker. And Mike Conley, the man is over 35 years old, and he is still an excellent guard. Mm-hmm. Very underrated. Mm-hmm. The four of these guys came together as a team. They played excellent team basketball.
That's for
sure.
Keep
that word in mind. Knicks, that's what you need to do next season. Stop relying on Brunson and DiVincenzo and Hart. They're great players. We need more team effort to beat teams like Indiana. Everybody. That's why I say they need a center. They are lacking that one killer player that can help them. Paul George would be a nice player to have. I don't know if he'd fit into the system that they have, but we know he is a terrific shooter.
One more thing about the Denver Nuggets. They also became the 5th consecutive defending NBA champion to reach did not get to the conference finals.
Wow.
Yeah, the 5th one. The last team to do it, Golden State Warriors, 2019.
Wow. You would never think about them as bouncing out of the playoffs that quickly.
Yeah.
But Denver, I'm telling you, I think what happened to them yesterday is even more devastating than what happened to the Knicks.
Yes.
Because the Knicks, up until yesterday, you could not say they didn't play with heart and effort and energy.
Yeah.
And they played with guts. This Knicks team, and I love the Knicks of the 90s.
Yeah.
They were a fierce, competitive, tough team.
Mm-hmm.
They had Oakley and Ewing and Starks and Mason. They were a terrific team. But this New York team, I think, in many ways, might be the best New York team we've ever had in a single season. And that includes the 70s when they won the championship.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
But what they now need are a couple pieces around the core of this team to help them. And Thibodeau, who has become a better coach in the last year or two, needs to get all of them involved. He started doing it this year when he used McBride, and he used another player. We had Quentin Grimes before they traded him. They were starting to use more of their people.
Yeah.
I want to see the Knicks going forward. 10 guys out of the 12 should be on the court every night.
I agree.
That will keep Brunson healthier and everybody else.
I agree.
They were used up this season.
Right. Going to the Garden, still hanging out in the Garden. The Rangers face the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals Wednesday night after defeating the Carolina Hurricanes 5-3 on Thursday night. Chris Kreider scored 3 goals in the third period to win the game after being down 3-1. The Rangers scored 4 goals in that third period.
Let me tell you, outside of 1994, when they won the Cup, this Ranger team might be the best team they've had.
Yeah.
They have all the talent to do it. Kreider, Panarin, Lafreniere, and Trocheck. What a talented group of players they are. And the goaltender, my God, Igor Shesterkin might be the best goaltender in the league.
But they make people forget Henrik Lundqvist.
And Mike Richter.
Mike Richter.
A lot
yes,
of people
Mike
say
Richter.
he was. But you watch Igor Shesterkin, and this guy is an incredible goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
So this series, by the way, this Florida Panther team is going to be very, very tough on the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
You think the Carolina Hurricanes were? This team plays almost the same way with a little twist here and there. They're very talented. They're led by Matthew Tkachuk, and not the one the Rangers had. I don't think he's related to Walt Tkachuk, but this team is very talented. They have a goaltender who's also almost as good as what we have in Baravov. He's very good. And they have a very strong defense. They are a tough team to deal with. The Rangers are going to have to play at their ideal best to beat this team.
The A+ game.
Yes. I think the Rangers can beat this team, but if there is a team that can stop the Rangers, we have finally met them.
Huh.
Do I think the Rangers can win? Yes, but it may take them 7 games to do it.
7 tough games.
Yes. This team is a serious contender as much as we are. They were only 4 points behind us this year in total points. They are almost dead even with us in scoring, dead even us in stopping the power plays. They are a dangerous team. I think the Rangers had a very good taste of what the Florida Panthers are playing Carolina. That may have gotten them revved up to play this team. But I'm telling you, they cannot have letdowns against this team.
No.
This team is very similar to the Carolina Hurricanes. They're going to have to play a complete game and really come after this team. And a lot of these games, I have a feeling, are not going to be high-scoring games. I think we're looking at a lot of 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 games with incredible defense, with goaltending, which will have to be excellent in this series for them to win. And they are very capable of scoring as much as we are. So fasten your seatbelts, as Bob Murphy used to say, our Met announcer, because this series is going to be hell on wheels.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Before we go tonight, congratulations to Manchester City, who won the English Premier League championship for the 4th season in a row.
Wow.
Man City has been a powerhouse in the Premier League. This is their 6th championship in the last 7 years.
Wow.
6 in 7 years. They've become a dynasty in the world of soccer.
They're the dominant team in soccer.
Yes, they have been.
Wow.
They really have been.
I respect you for watching that, Pedro. I've never been one to get into soccer, but I'm glad you brought them up.
Yeah, they've become the closest to the dynasty I have ever seen. Yes,
wow.
We just mentioned that.
Well, congratulations to them. They obviously are the best.
Congratulations to manager Pep Guardiola, who gets the best from his players year after year.
That is the mark of a great coach.
Yes, indeed. Great manager. Yes. For Stephen Ferguson, this is Pedro Hazel Jr. saying good night and see you in 2 weeks.
Good night, guys.